senior semiconductor analyst at BofA's Securities. I guess the first thing I'd ask you, Vivek, is were you among the crowd that sort of expected a good number, but not good enough to really impress people for a resumption of this incredible uptrend? And I mean, 191 and 18%. These numbers were so far above even whisper numbers. Did it surprise you as well? I see you did raise your price target or your price objective based on this.
Sure. Good morning. I think what we are witnessing is what I would call a structural rather than a cyclical shift in the memory industry. It is critical to AI. There is no AI without memory. And it is just, 3 or 4 times harder to create memory chips for AI than it is for conventional computing. I think the second important thing, Joe, that we are seeing is a lot of discipline among the 3 scaled memory companies, 2 in Korea, 1 in the US, which is Micron, of course. We are seeing real price discipline because it's not only hard to create these chips. It's also because these companies have been through these up and down cycles many times before. So I think this time they have newfound kind of pricing and discipline. And then the last thing we are also seeing with this cycle is very strong free cash flow generation. I mean, at this point, Micron can pretty much afford to buy 10% of its stock every year with the cash that it is generating. So we do think it is different this time. In terms of what we saw last night, I think the results were very strong. I mean, they were, probably a little bit stronger than some of the investor expectations. But the new thing that Micron revealed is agreements with 16 different customers that provided with supply, with pricing and unit visibility for a number of years out. So I think it's a durability of this cycle that I think is different this time.
Was it discipline in terms of how much production the company had planned for? Or was it just, were they as surprised, or was it as surprised as everyone else at how strong the demand is? And is it good when you like to sell more, when you like to make more, to be able to sell at these prices, or is it one or the other? If you make more, the prices don't stay as high.
Right. I think what we are seeing an interesting paradox show where every time AI products are created, they demand more memory, and it is just harder to create these memory chips, especially for high bandwidth memory. Right? You need 3 to 4 times the number of wafers to create the same amount of capacity with high bandwidth memory as you would do with conventional products. So it's just harder to create. Even if Micron or Samsung or Hynix wanted to create more chips, there just isn't enough physical space to do so. So as long as I think their customers feel that even though they are paying higher prices, now memory is almost 35 to 40% of cloud capital spending out there. But even despite that price increase, if they are able to use these memory chips and new NVIDIA products like Vera Rubin, and you get 3 to 4 times the creation of tokens that can be monetized, I think as long as that virtuous cycle goes on, people will be willing to pay more for these memory products. But the point is that even if these companies wanted, it's just harder to create more memory chips very quickly. The space that you need, the LAN power shell that you need, I mean, data centers are going and asking for the same LAN power shell. So I think it's just get harder. And I think the supply-demand imbalance can stay until at least the end of next year.
All right, so the end of next year, but to build out itself, which is proceeding so rapidly right now with AI, does that continue for 5 years? Does it continue at the same pace for 5 years? Do you ever reach, okay, we built this, we built it now we're just going to use it? Does it ever get to that point, or do we need more and more and more and more for decades?
Sure. I mean, think about the first smartphone that we got like 10 or 15 years ago versus the smartphones that we have today. Even now, I believe many people will say, well, we are not satisfied with the bandwidth on the speed on the phone, right, with the capacity. We can always do more. The point is that the demand for computing keeps on going up over time. What changes is incremental supply cycles. And I think this time, what is different about memory memories, it is just harder to create this. Now, to your question, Joe, I do think that the build out of the AI infrastructure continues till the end of this decade. Doesn't mean it's going to go up 60 or 70%, but I think we are witnessing the creation of a new intelligence layer. The only thing that stops it is, will the end customers have the imagination to create new applications that will drive more user adoption? Will they be able to monetize these applications? I think that is probably a more structural question to ask, because the semiconductor industry will continue to benefit. But I think it's up to the end customer to try and monetize these more effectively. So yeah, I do believe that it may not grow 60, 70% every year, but the deployment should go on at least until the end of this decade.
Well, do you ever remember raising your price target? Like your price objective is 1550. In the same year, a stock was trading at, or 52-week period where a stock was trading at 200. I mean, does that seem normal to you, Vivek? These are crazy. No, I mean, we say it; it's easy to say it, but it actually happened.
Right. No, absolutely. And the interesting thing here is that the forward price to earnings multiple for Micron is basically unchanged since the start of the year. All this move that we are seeing in the stock, for not just Micron, right, for many other semiconductor companies, it's all being driven by earnings expansion. It is not being driven by price to earnings upgrades. In fact, the three largest semiconductor companies that I cover, NVIDIA, Broadcom, Micron, they're all trading below the S&P 500 multiple. So I think that's what makes this cycle interesting, that unlike in kind of the prior boom-bust cycles that we saw, some of those tech stocks were trading at 100 plus PE multiples, and Micron is basically trading sub 10 times, right? Now, it is a cyclical company. We don't expect it to trade at 20, 30 times multiple, but I think if these companies continue to show that there is durability to this cycle, that there is a kind of price discipline, that their customers are able to monetize this, there is no reason why we should also not see a further re-rating of these stocks. So I think it is still very cheap, despite the run that it has had.
That's incredible. I mean, nothing grows to the sky. We always say that, but sometimes things get pretty close. Jack and the Beanstalk. Anyway, Vivek, thank you. Appreciate it. And 1550 price target.